Hello, everybody. This is Thunder, and like I said, you never know when I'm going to appear. Last time I was on, I said that I was going to come back on and talk about Hopi prophecy, which I am going to do. That's another video that is in the works. And that should be a eyebrow raiser, but I guess we're having a little bit of an eyebrow raiser right now because of the situation with, Russia invading Ukraine. Well, let's understand this, people, because I've been following this for a good 4 or 5 years. And of course, people have memories like gnats. I mean, they don't even remember what happened in the first place, or they don't really know what happened in the first place, so how are they even going to remember it in any logical way, any reasonable way? Everybody out there, you look at the social media now, and everybody's, oh my God, Russia's invading Ukraine and those poor, poor people, and oh, my heart goes out to you, and oh, this is going to be World War III, and it's so horrible what Putin's doing, and all of that is because of misinformation and disinformation and redirection by the mainstream media, as usual. I figured I'd come on here and set things straight so you really know what the hell's going on. So if you remember 4 or 5 years ago, which I'm sure you don't, there was an incident with Crimea, okay? And there was an incident where the people in Crimea, which is part of that whole territory, Ukrainian, Russian, whatever, territory. Let's not forget Ukraine used to be Russia. When they overthrew some dictator, or when they overthrew the right president, the elected president, and installed a dictator back then, bad things happened, okay? Bad things started happening. And who installed a dictator? Who overthrew the government of Kiev and Ukraine and installed a dictator? Well, the West did. America did. USA, NATO, all of the above, okay? So let's just understand what's going on here. When they did that, they installed a bunch of neo-Nazis. What does neo-Nazi mean? It means new Nazis. Just like the old ones. Just like the old ones. And this country and the people in it, how dare them, and the Democrats and everybody, how dare them even talk about white supremacy when in fact our government installed a bunch of neo-Nazis in Ukraine and overthrew the legitimate president who had a good relationship with Russia. Excuse me. I forget his name, but it doesn't really matter at this point. So basically that's what happened about 4 or 5 years ago. The West, and the regime that was in control in America was Obama, and John Kerry was in there, and Biden, okay. Now at that time, Biden installed his son, Hunter Biden, as one of the energy czars of Ukraine, making billions of dollars, which is just unheard of. Why would you install somebody from America that has no relationship or no citizenship or anything in a country, okay, where you're all of a sudden going to make your son czar, energy czar, and make billions of dollars? And of course, We know that Biden's a crook, and we know that Hunter Biden's a crook, and we know that that whole situation came about for reasons of taking over or trying to install a new government, a Nazi government that was against Putin and wanting to poke their fingers in the eyes of the Putin or the bear, okay? Which they have been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. Another thing that they have been doing is tormenting and torturing a whole bunch of people that don't want to have anything to do with this regime that was installed in there. Incidentally, back when this happened, Crimea voted, okay, to leave the Ukraine and join Russia. What did they say at the time? Well, they said, oh, well, Putin annexed Russia, which was another big lie, which he didn't do at all. Putin has always had good intentions to help the people of the Ukrainian empire, okay? But I digress. I was talking about in Donbass and Luhansk. In that region down there, those people have been horribly set upon and put upon by these neo-Nazis, and they have been for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. They've been suffering horribly, okay? Schools being bombed and all kinds of things. So let's put this shit into perspective. Putin is going in to help people, not hurt people. He's not going in there to start a war just because he wants to start a war and take over a nation. That's not his intention at all. His intention is to help those people that have been set upon, get rid of it. That's why he says I'm in there to denazify it, Nazify it, get rid of the Nazis, because that's exactly what the fuck he's doing. So all these bleeding heart people on social media and all over and everywhere that are saying that Putin is trying to start a war, you know how long he's been holding off on doing this? 4 or 5 years. Now, he is a master strategist, and one of the things that he doesn't like, okay, besides the fact that they installed neo-Nazis in there, one of the things that he doesn't like is that NATO has been, the reason that they installed America and Biden and Obama originally installed these people was so that they could move NATO in there, so that they could start moving weapons and armament and missiles and into Ukraine, okay? NATO into Ukraine. NATO is all over Europe, okay? It's basically Europe is infested with NATO, and NATO is none other than the West, and NATO has no other agenda except to bring down Russia, okay, or bring down Putin, or bring down the governing people in Russia, and Russia itself. They got a bone to pick because Russia isn't going along with the New World Order program, okay, and hasn't been and never will be. So things have ratcheted up here. Why? Because evidently Putin, okay, and I can't speak for him, but he definitely knew and knows that the intention of NATO is to move in there. Now, why is that a problem? Well, I'll tell you why. Because that would be like Russia coming in and moving into Canada or into Mexico and putting rockets right on the border facing America. How would America like that? Okay. Or going to Canada right along the border with America and Russia, putting missiles in there, aiming right at the, all the states and everything. That's what they intended on doing. That's what NATO intends on doing, or intended on doing, except, guess what? Putin is a leader, a good leader, and he has a fucking backbone. And he decided, you know what, this is a risk to my people, and this is a risk to my nation, which obviously it was, or is. He saw that happening. He's not a dummy. Ever since Crimea, they have been, on his ass. Okay? Let's see things the way they really are here. Okay? And so you can go out and tell all these idiot, moron, lunkheads that are controlled by the Western media and controlled by the West and controlled by the mainstream media of all countries. You can go out and tell your friends what the fuck is really going on here. That there's people suffering there that are being given some hope. Okay, things are already changing there. These regions down there, and Putin waited a long time. I applaud him, yay. And he's going in there now, and he's kicking ass and taking names and taking care of business. So I don't want to hear, I go on things like I saw on Instagram, this model, okay? These are the type of people, this is so horrible. I lived in Cuba under communist rule, and I pray for the people. This is the idiocy that is out there, that buys into this shit that the West keeps pumping out about Putin being a bad guy and this and that. Now some people are talking about, well, this could be World War III. Well, it could be. It could be. It probably, it very well. Will they use nuclear weapons? Well, prophecy says, okay, prophecy, and I'm talking about, I've been really getting deeply into the Hopi thing lately, about what's going on and what can be expected. I won't even talk about biblical prophecy except to say that predicts it too, and they're using the Bible as a playbook. They want people to think that exactly what the Bible said is going to happen, and it very may well happen, because they're orchestrating it that way, the powers to be, because it fits right in with the narrative, okay, and it's easier to control people, and it's easier to scare the shit out of people. So basically what I'm saying is, could there be a limited nuclear exchange? Well, yes, there could be. In fact, there could be a major nuclear exchange here. Why? Because the idiots in the West have poked the bear in the eye, okay? And the bear, any kind of bear, if it's sleeping or whatever, does not like to be poked in the eye, does not like to be pushed in the corner to the point where it has to defend its young, okay, its cubs, which with Russia it would be the people of Russia, defending the people of Russia. So that's what's happening here, people. And like I said, I haven't been paying any attention to the world because I think it's such a fucking circus. But when a major event like this arises, well, I owe it to my listeners out there to at least make a comment about it. Gee, where did COVID go all of a sudden? Boy, what happened to that, man? That doesn't seem to be a main priority with the mainstream media anymore. Could it be that they're exchanging one set of fear tactics for another? That's what it could be, okay? This could all be orchestrated too. I'm just giving you a rundown here on history and what took place, okay? And make no mistake about it, the USA and the West and the powers to be, they're all behind this. Everybody in the West. Oh, and they're coming out and saying all this shit about, oh, we're going to put sanctions on this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to sanction Russia and the SWIFT banks and the banking system and blah, 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 on and on and on. These people don't have an ounce of fucking balls. That shit ain't going to hurt Putin or Russia or any of those people in the least. Shit, he's sitting on the biggest oil reserves in the fucking world, okay? He's got more gold than you can even imagine. And he's worried about whether they're going to put some sanctions on him. Not in the least. If anything, those sanctions are going to come right back and bite the people of America and the West in the ass. Okay. They're hurting themselves as much as they're thinking they're hurting Russia. They're not hurting Russia. That just shows the lack of backbone they have to do anything. Okay, but they will do something. And if there's a nuclear standoff here, incidentally, today, Sunday, what's the date today? 27th of February, Sunday the 27th of February, Putin put his nuclear arsenal on high alert, okay? He came right out and said it. He's putting it on high alert. Why is he putting it on high alert? And he came right out and said, if anybody tries to interfere with what the fuck I'm doing here, you're going to pay a bad price. Putin is done playing games, okay? He's done playing games. And people should really, really sit up and take notice of how the West, how America, how the good USA, good old USA and its cohorts, its allies, okay, around the world are trying to cause trouble here. Why? Because the pandemic thing didn't fucking work for them. It didn't work, okay? And it isn't gonna work. And I still think that this whole situation isn't going to go to the extent that people think it is. I think that what's going to happen is that Mother Earth, okay, is going to call the shots here. That's what I think. Because since I talked to you last, we had an explosion on the other side of the sun. That if it was facing this side when that happened, we'd be in big trouble. And I don't look at anything as big trouble anymore. I look at it as, bring it on. Bring it on. This is what's meant to be. We need an end to the bullshit, and we need an end. We need an emergence, like the Hopi say, from the fourth world into the fifth world, or from one dimension into another. So yeah, I thought I'd come on a bit, talk about this shit, and set you straight on it, because you know I always do. I speak truth. And as far as the geopolitical thing goes, I just ran it down to you. I ran it down to you, so you have no excuses for not knowing. That's the geopolitical end of it, but on a much higher level, spiritual level, I could spend an hour or two talking about that, but I'm not going to. Not today. I might include that with the Hopi thing that's coming up here. But just know this. You're being lied to. You're being deceived. You're being led down the garden path by these blah-bitty, blah, 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 blah talking heads, okay, that are just adding fuel to the fire with their fucking lies and the sanctions and all this crap. It's a bunch of baloney. Putin has always left the door open. He said, I'm open for negotiations, and that's supposedly what's going to happen. I'd love to be a bug on the wall. I'd love to be a fly or a bug on the wall when he walks into that room with the president of Ukraine and says, guess what? You got two choices. You got two choices. One is to die, okay, because we will take you out, or the other is to make an agreement with us to let these poor people in Donbass and Luhansk and in that region, let them alone. Get rid of your all your military equipment and missiles and shit that you think you're going to put on our front door. Reject NATO. That's what they're going to say. And we'll leave you alone. You think that's going to happen? Well, it remains to be seen, doesn't it? Remains to be seen. But I'd love to be in there when they make him sweat BBs. Okay, when they make these Western punks sweat BBs. I'll leave it there today. I just thought I'd do this video real quick. And then, like I said before, you never know when I'm going to appear or disappear. But I am planning to do a thing on the Hopi people and the Pueblo people and archaeology. Fun stuff. More fun stuff than this shit. Not my circus, not my monkeys. But having said that, I figured I owed it to you to come on here and kind of set things straight for the people that follow me anyway. Just so they'll know, okay, not get caught up in this fucking hysteria. All right, I'll leave it there. Adios.